So they've found different roles to get him involved at a higher level.
Yeah, well, he survived, really. He was one that probably could have paid the price or should have paid the price for poor form early in the season, but good coaching from Brett Ratton to move him to half-back and find a way to build his confidence and get him into games.
Saints will kick to the left of screen. Our man at ground level at Optus Stadium today is none other than the legend from the Fremantle Dockers, Matthew Pavlich. Pav, good afternoon to you. The conditions look pretty good, mate.
Afternoon, Jace. Yeah, nice conditions down here at ground level. Slight breeze favouring the team that'll kick to the left of screen. But although it's a little overcast and there is a possibility of a late afternoon shower, conditions down here are pretty much perfect. A player I'm keen to have a look at this afternoon, gents, is Jack Darling. Over the past month, talk about West Coast not being in the greatest form. Well, they've still averaged near on 50 inside 50s, but Jack Darling has only kicked the 2 goals and averaging about 10 or 11 disposals. So he needs to really improve today. Josh Kennedy back in, that certainly helps him. But can they kick a winning score? Well, Jack Darling needs to step up this afternoon.
Yeah, he does. I mean, they get the combination back, don't they? Darling and Kennedy. You get Oscar Allen up forward, and you've got the Saints missing a couple of key defenders, Rui.
Yeah, well, statistically over the last month, the Saints have been the best team in the comp. They're conceding only 55 points a game, but you can stretch them down back. So Claverino comes in, who's inexperienced. Callum Wilkie often has to play out of his weight division. Looks like he's the man with the matchup on Darling today. So if you're a big key forward like Port Adelaide were last week, you'd be licking your chops with the St Kilda smaller defenders.
I'll tell you what, it's not that often that you see Adam Papalia this wound up for a game. He knows there's something brewing. Perhaps it's going to be a big one.
It certainly is. So much on the line for both of these teams if they want to play in the finals in season 2021. Plenty of fans in the house as we're underway, and Natanui and Wright is going to be such a great matchup. The Eagles will get the first clearance through Kelly. And Claverino will be able to mop things up for the Saints. They'll bring it wide. Sinclair to Billings. Back to the matchup earlier on this season. West Coast were 33 points up 16 minutes into the third term, and the Saints just took the pressure level up. Were able to run right over the top for a big upset earlier on in the season.
Straight away we saw the Saints trying to get Brad Hill involved. Coming off half-back, he received the hand pass. Here he is again. He's run from one side of the ground to the other to get involved and got away with an 8-metre kick.
His first game back in WA in a couple of seasons. Brad Hill, like the open spaces here at Optus Stadium. That one almost staying in for King. That's out of play.
It was opposed to Jamie Cripps when they lined up for the first centre bounce there, Brad Hill. So this is going to resemble a track meet between these two guys. Some of the best runners. I played a few years with Cripps, and he is one of the great runners I've ever seen, and we know Brad Hill's reputation.
It'll be fast and furious between those two. As Steele in and under, just able to send it forward. Hunter there, going through and out of the way. King have it. Now Butler in the forward pocket, still harassing and trying to keep it in play and make the Saints look dangerous. King in there, but Edwards able to win it for West Coast. Gaff trying to clear it away right up, and it's taken a good mark.
Yeah, just outfoxed him there. Good body work from Paddy Ryder. Waited for him to come back into his space.
Just held the arms up to get the separation. King attacking that one. Able to bring it down again. A little slow to get up, and then holding the ball against Butler. It'll be a free kick to the Eagles. Didn't dispose of it correctly.
Wasn't a bad kick from Ryder coming inside 50. It allowed King to have a run and a jump, and that's where, if you're a St Kilda supporter, you want to see him crashing that pack and making sure that the ball hits the deck. He was able to bring it to ground on that occasion, so if you can't mark it, you've got to get the strong contest.
Are you happy with him to give away a free kick early, just to show that aggression and competitiveness?
Absolutely.
Now a turn to control things out of defence. Long to the one-on-one, a long kick up towards Kennedy. Spills over the back. Sheed will get there first for the Eagles. Feed it backwards. O'Neill trying to change direction. West, who made such a good debut last week. High one inside 50. Webster across from the side. Makes a lovely mark in defence.
Lovely to get a measurement on that kick from Hearn. That was a 65, 70-metre drop punt.
And Shannon Hearn just uses it so well, usually off half-back. Connolly, now some space for the Saints, but the kick not up to the task as it rolls out in front of Membry.
You ought to have had that a little bit, really. Frustration when you've made space like Membry has there. You know you've worked your opponent over. All you need is the ball in your area.
Once or twice, Jace, but you just get on with it. Don't show any emotion.
It wouldn't have said anything at all, I'm sure. Jogging back to position is Natanui. And out of play again.
And I think early on, from a Saints perspective, Rui, they just need to get themselves in the contest, need to start well.
Well, hands on the ball, really, and they've been able to control possession so far.
Natanui and Ryder, through new acquaintances on the wing. Ryder got the early jump. Yo, the clearance for the Eagles. Gaining territory. No one really there, and it will be paid as deliberate.
On Fox Footy, we have the privilege of having the umpires mic'd up, and as soon as the kick went towards the boundary, you could hear one umpire say, "Paid deliberate, paid deliberate." Funnily enough, if that kick crosses the 50-metre arc, going inside 50, they don't pay it.
Yeah.
The Saints will switch things up, working hard as Billings. There's some space at half-back. He just took a little step off the line, so it puts him under a bit of pressure, but the execution is good to Sinclair. Signed a new deal during the week. Connolly with evasive skills to work in a tight space. Back for Hill again, been lively early. The kick, a poor one though, and a turnover in the corridor. West Coast will look to punish. Gaff to Shepherd, important touch in there. Saints back again. Just a tumbling ball. Eagles with numbers. Rotham and McGovern just about got mixed up. Gaff heard a voice.
Clever.
Vision out wide to Duggan.
Yeah, good call, Paps. Really clever kick, just to relieve the pressure. Sometimes in that situation, all you want to do is find a mark, find a player that can then back off. You can reset, you can establish your position again.
Now West Coast turn to try and set things up from their defensive half. Spoke Adam Simpson a couple of times during the week about how good the team defence of St Kilda has been in recent weeks and how it's going to be tough to find a way through, just like that, as it's picked off by Dunstan. Through the middle they want to go. Jones to Steele. He's had an exceptional year. Need some support.
You can see the intention there. They want to move the ball quickly, St Kilda.
Lavarino long, but King's got 3 to beat down there, and Edwards able to intercept.
Yeah, just misjudged it then, King too.
Ran under
You
it,
see him coming hard at the ball and just let it get over the top of him.
It's also a poor kick. Kicking to a 1-on-3 is not what they're looking forward to when they're going inside 50.
Overlap run from Duggan. Good kick through the middle to Cripps. Had a big afternoon against the Crows last week. Kennedy wanted it long. Shepherd will go in that direction now. Right on the paint of 50.
Yeah, early in the game, he might think he can give it a ride from here.
Missed last week with a calf complaint. Josh Kennedy. He'll pass it off instead and just share it around. And Cripps, who works always so hard, will line up just a little closer to goal.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Brad Hill's the defensive matchup on him. He certainly wasn't on him in that particular instance, but we know he presents, he runs hard. He had a belter of a game last week. Look to back it up again.
Well, Jamie Cripps had a couple of quiet weeks heading into last week against the Crows, but bounced back with 5. So he's returned to form, but that one thuds into the woodwork. First score on the board. Now St Kilda want to get it and go. Butler out wide for Billings, who stretches and takes it just inside the boundary. Both teams just trying to find a way through in this early stages of this first term. The high kick goes towards King again. He did well to keep it in play, but a fumble by Membry.
Talked about the Brad Hill matchup. Well, it's actually Zach Langdon who's running him around when West Coast have the ball. So Brad Hill looking so offensive when the Saints get it, but Langdon also trying to work him hard the other way. So the two boys are going to rack up some Ks this afternoon.
Well, McGovern having to take the ruck work there. Just gained some territory after taking clean possession. Darling wrestled and taken over the line. We'll get a boundary throw in. Matthew Pavlich highlighting Jack Darling before the game. Form being a little down. Goalless in 3 of his last 5. Since he kicked 5 in the space of about 10 minutes in a game here. A number of weeks back now. There's Yo. Sent it up towards Darling. Punched off it by Wilkie. Blazing away, but McGovern, who reads it so well. In game number 150. A kick smothered. He'll be disappointed with that. But he sends up the hand in apology. But such a great story. Jeremy McGovern spoke during the week about 2013. Now we returned from an overseas trip, came back 11 kilos overweight from 2 weeks in Phuket, banished away from the club, transformed himself, started riding to training, becomes a 4-time All-Australian and a premiership player. This one will be held up and balled up with Connolly at the base of the pack. McGovern doing the ruck work again. So a bit of an arm wrestle early. They still search for the first goal. Gaff back inside, and it's tight and tough in there. Tackle pressure from the Eagles up early. It's something they've been really known for over the last couple of seasons.
This is where we just crave a third man up. We crave the old rule, someone to just come in over the top and smack the ball out into space. Both teams doing a good job of just locking it down.
Dunstan will get things a little bit cleared. And King with good body work, but Edwards able to come up with it. 5 touches already in the game for the young defender, and a blocking call, so it will be a free kick to the Eagles.
It's always interesting, that rule, because if you're then able to make a play on the ball, it's just considered good body work. But Dunstan not getting a hand on it there took Yeo out of the play.
Yeah, I'll send it long. Pretty packed forward line. Kennedy just jostling to get to the front. Howard unable to take the mark, but get a boundary throw in just inside 50 for West Coast.
What about the ruck rotation here with McGovern going in when Natanui comes off, Pav?
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's Jack Darling is in the ruck now, but McGovern goes behind the ball playing in the ruck position. So Allen comes on and plays in defence. Natanui goes off. McGovern has to ruck. So that's going to be an interesting setup for both teams as the game wears on. Of course, Natanui so dominant in around the centre square bounce. Paddy Ryder against him. But what sort of advantage can the Saints get perhaps with McGovern now into the ruck?
Burns for Jones. Up to the 50. Allen was there, and King over the back read it nicely. A great game earlier on in the season against the Eagles. That kick was over the head of Long. Cole, a little fortunate. He did stumble and fall into his opponent, but allowed to play. And a behind, and the Eagles wasting no time to bring it back in.
We'll keep an eye on the number of marks that West Coast take. 110 seems to be the benchmark there. They win just about every game. I think it's 9 out of 10 when they hit the 110 marks. They are a kick mark team, but when they don't hit that mark, they've lost every game this season. At the moment, they've had 18 marks, so they need to get around that 27, 28 marks a quarter. Got away with one there.
Yeah.
Oh, got away with 2 there.
I reckon Brad Shepherd's been called for worse over his career.
There's McGovern doing the ruck work, as Matty Pavlich was telling us about. Something we don't think he's done at all this season.
So Hill sent a high one to half forward. Rotham in front. Shepherd at the spill. Cole. Now Hutchings back in for his first game in quite some time. Been battling injury.
Yeah, West Coast just smashing St Kilda at the drop of the ball at the moment. Just all of those 450 crumbs are going the way of the Eagles.
McGovern strong in the air as always, but Cripps not able to take the mark there. Hill's handball a little tough, still left it behind. Slapped back in the direction of Cripps, took a bit too long, and Jack Steele, always a ferocious tackler, doesn't get rewarded with a free kick there. We'll get a stoppage. See the ruck work from McGovern again. Clearance to the Saints, so smothered off the boot. It will stay in play. Kelly, Gaff, over the top for West. Look out, Jones crashing back through the other way. Loves to run and carry. Kelly almost got him. Hunter not sure where to go. Got it on the boot. Bounce important. Collision coming up, and Webster just beeline the footy, but his kick was smothered. Langdon, no one really able to win some clean possession here. Jones taking them on again. Able to get it through. Kent crunched by Shepherd. Gang tackling, red hot in this first quarter as Hutchings puts it on the boot. Hyder half forward. Hill the spoil. Ryan again at the drop. Able to gather. Straighten. And a good vision as well across to Waterman. Another one of those inclusions. Kennedy working hard, and he'll reel it in. again. About 40 out from goal.
Well, what a great passage of play on the far side of the ground. Look, the attack on the ball from a couple of St Kilda players was brilliant, and then the pressure from West Coast to be able to strip them to, you know, really give them 3 or 4 goes at it and just get it back off them every time, and then the shift of the ball to the open side. This is what a good forward does, and Josh Kennedy's made a habit of it. He's so fast to identify the space, to get the split off his opponent, and he's pretty handy at this part of it as well.
32 goals for the season for the Eagles. Spearhead back in the side this afternoon. And that's what the Eagles fans have seen time and time again. Kennedy with the set shot finish, and the Eagles have got the first on the board.
It's a great finish from Kennedy, but you're right, Roo. There are a couple of contests further up the ground. 3 great 50-50 wins by St Kilda, but it was the ability then of West Coast, who aren't a great contested possession team, to then win the ball back, to put enough pressure on to win it back. And what we do know is that they're a good side at kicking and hitting leads, particularly coming from deep forward like a Kennedy who's working into space. So if they can hit their kicks and mark targets, they'll go a long way towards winning the game. Three handy players there. Yo, Kennedy, McGovern sitting on the bench at the same time.
See the tackle numbers, 12 to 5. I said earlier, it's not really a stat that West Coast have been known for. This style of play under Adam Simpson. And pressure right up in the first quarter. Try to find a way out of the centre square. Both of these teams are destined for a ball up.
Yeah, to illustrate that point, perhaps they're 18th in the competition for pressure applied this year. So not something that they've ever really been well known for, but it was on display. That last passage led to a goal.
Adenui with strength. Kelly backing out of the pack. Ryan, though, lost his footing. And Webster able to take it. The Saints can go down the corridor. Steele's kick for Membry. Got a bit of separation from Rotham.
Paddy Ryder's pushing really hard ahead of the play here, trying to catch out Nick Naitanui. The ball just hasn't quite got there quick enough, but good attacking play from Ryder, testing Naitanui's defence.
Steele sent it long. It's in that Naitanui Ryder direction. King had the height at the spill. Saints looking for the Crummers. Sheed, does he get a handball away? Duggan steps his way through nicely and finds some room to move. High ball back towards Allen. Was wrestling, but he knew Cripps was the ground support. And they'll swing it out wide now on the counter-attack. These Eagles have got the numbers in the overlap. Waterman will cruise to 45, but he drilled it low rather than going high, straight into the arms of Wilkie.
Just a complete shank. A complete shank.
There was Eagles everywhere and so much time to size them up. A missed kick, though, and a real let-off for the Saints.
The interesting thing, though, Paps, and Rui, is as he's running in, every other teammate was running towards goal. No one propped and just gave him a little hit-up chip.
Normally quite a reliable finish, and the Saints will try and punish them back the other way as Ryder stretches, but Naitanui does the defensive thing and sees the ball out of play.
The art of leading up at the ball carrier is just about a forgotten craft in AFL these days. Everyone pushes deep, runs back with the flight towards goal. So many opportunities if someone can prop and hit up at the ball carrier.
Sounds like a good setup for you to get out to clubland, Jay. Still a bit of coaching.
Ball out wide. Kelly and Ross.
And I understand the reasons why it's not the preferred option at times, and it's all about where you want to defend from and where you might turn the ball over. But so many times if you prop and lead up, you'll be 10 metres clear, because everyone's so intent on getting back behind the ball. It's the easiest of kicks. Clubs couldn't afford him, I don't reckon, Rui.
Great insight from one of the game's greatest goal kickers.
There's no denial then either.
As the ball goes through the middle. Cole out the back. Ryan Newton's going to spill that way, and he'll rove onto it. He'll try and streak away from them. Steady and punish.
Well, he looks like he might have caused himself a bit of grief here, Liam Ryan.
Could be his hammy, I think. As soon as he kicked it, he stopped straight away, didn't he? Let's have a look at the replay, but he's heading straight down to the bench to have this checked out. Let's have a look on the replay. Brilliant goal in the end, and right there.
Oh, yeah.
Right there, just a little...
Pulled up short, didn't he?
Right there.
Yeah, it's the
Just
left.
as you decelerate and go to pull up. Let's hope it's not serious. Too exciting a player to be out of the game. We love watching him.
Jimmy Webster knew exactly how that was going to end. He was cursing himself as soon as the ball got over the back. You can see him swear at himself while he was
took the
running.
initiative. If he takes the mark, it's great play. But if you drop it, you're in real trouble.
Liam Ryan has missed a bit of footy this season. Certainly be a blow to the Eagles' fortunes as this one goes forward for the Saints. Hunter able to get it out. Kent to Jones. Lowers the eyes. Membry on the lead, but Rotham able to take it over the top. Good intercept mark.
Getting plenty of looks going inside 50, St Kilda, but the last kick's just killing them. Either too much air on the ball going over the top or no representation at ground level if it comes to ground.
Sheed towards Natanui was the target. Yo was waiting down forward. O'Neill will just put it on the boot, looking for Australian if it sits up. Navarino got some issues. Allen a big tackle and did ever so well. The Saints defender to get it out, and then Caulfield's kick coughs it up. It's out of play and a boundary throw-in.
Liam Ryan straight down to the rooms, boys. We'll keep an eye on him. Jared Brander all of a sudden is up and moving. He's getting ready to potentially come on, but we'll let you know any more details on Ryan as soon as we can down here.
Thanks, Pav. Natanui flicks it down. Trips couldn't handle it. Webster his head over it. Billings. And now Sinclair. Good kick. Out to half back for Kent. We've got some overlap here. Burns running hard into space. It's open further afield. Hunter presenting on the lead, but McGovern working to the front. And able to knock it down. Hunter from his knees, able to get it back to Burns, who continued to run. The wobbly old kick inside 50. The Eagles' numbers win out. Duggan spears it to Kelly. Eagles intent on moving it quickly and using the corridor as they sent it out wide to Cripps, who wanted to turn and go. Caulfield did well to hold him up, but they've got options again. And a chance to line them up from inside 50. Waterman try and make amends for the earlier attempt.
I think at times, particularly throughout the course of this year, the Eagles have been guilty of moving the ball too slowly, but they're creating separation from their opponents, which is allowing the player with the ball to play on, hit a target by foot, and they're getting picked apart by the foot skills of the Eagles at the moment, St Kilda's defence. So finding it very difficult to one-on-one with their opponents.
First game since round 15 for Jake Waterman, been in and out of the side. 11 goals, 4 for the season though, so he knows how to hit them, but that one just hooking across. And another behind. There's Brander warming up, the midi sub for the Eagles. We await a decision on Liam Ryan. So under 5 minutes to go till quarter time. Long kick from Caulfield and Shepherd. Able to just drift across. Kennedy was wrestling there with Membry. Another intercept mark. High ball back, congested forward line. They're all up, almost a great mark, but it will be paid, in fact. The effort alone probably worthy of it.
It's a good mark. Claverino, but he landed heavily. He's holding that left arm.
A kick showing a little bit too much of it to Yo. Now Webster under the pump. Yo just desperation. Trying to dive on top of it. Langdon, Yo locking it in. Real hunger and appetite for the footy as we see Liam Ryan on the bench.
Good illustration there, I thought, from both Yo and Wilkie of how to approach a ground ball situation. Yo went inside on, he didn't lead with his head, and Wilkie almost waited.
Fantastic hit out from Ryder. Burns. Wilkie knew the contact was coming, but got the kick away. McGovern rising. Dunstan trying to paddle to his advantage under some heat from Sheed, and certainly a high putt there from Hearn, awkwardly crashing in. Dunstan will get the free. Ticking our way towards quarter time. And the Saints find their opening goal. Hunter got 3 to beat. Edwards the spoil. Crouch. Just a high kick, hoping for Membry. Cole able to fist it away. Sheed. West. Duggan ran into trouble and caught holding the ball. They pushed off the first one and the second got him.
I think he knew he was in trouble, Liam Duggan. If he gives the hand pass, his teammate's about to get tackled, so he hung on to it, but then got closed down very quickly.
Dean Kent was hit it high. Onto the target. Edwards in front. Quick hands, McGovern. Allen back there in defence with a long kick. Kent competing in the air. Who went without it, but pushed off it. West, we try the underground nutmeg. Didn't come off. Saints will counter-attack. Dunstan, Crouch, sending it towards Membry. 1 bite, 2, 3, no. Just couldn't hang on. He'll find it at ground level, though. Flick it out. Billings, he fires it through. And the Saints are on the ball.
Oh, just a couple of repeat inside 50s, and really the first time St Kilda have been able to win the ball at ground level in their forward 50. So often West Coast have been able to work really hard defensively and outnumber at the drop of the ball. And you can see here even they've got the numbers, West Coast, but Membry just able to scrap and fight and win the ball at ground level and get it out to Billings. That's a good finish on the non-preferred side and a much-needed goal as well. 13 inside 50s. Long time to wait for your first goal.
Well, good news for the Saints fans in 2 ways. They're on the scoreboard, but if you're a Saints fan at home, you would like the sight of this, not for an Eagles fan, clearly. That left hammy gone. He's got ice on it, boys. He's done for the game. Jared Brander has just come onto the ground. He's up in the forward line. He's onto the ground, so disappointing for Liam Ryan and the Eagles, but he is out for the match.
Not sure Saints fans are that cruel, Pav. They want to see the best players playing.
I know you're like that. You're ruthless, Rui.
Well, let's hope it's the most minor of strains or tweaks for Liam Ryan, because we haven't seen enough of him this year. We want the best players out there showing us all those wonderful things they can do.
Game's certainly better for having him out there.
And you'd prefer calling him, perhaps, I reckon.
Seeing what he can do. He's a human highlight machine, Liam Ryan, so certainly prefer having him out there. As King is in a wrestle there with McGovern. Cole taking in a strong tackle and caught holding the ball. They didn't get rid of it properly, and then playing on while Cole was laying on the ground. That will send it forward and up high. Taking a nice mark was Kent. Back for Butler, who continued to run, and instead of having the shot, not 15 called, Ryder has to go. He'll steady, snap, and curl it through. Didn't matter anyway. Paddy Ryder with all the skills on show.
It's a classic case of what I was talking about before, Rui. The hit-up lead. It's an easy kick to make now. On that occasion, it was too short a kick, and it didn't count. But it takes the pressure off the kicker because he's running at full clip. All he has to do is put a little chip kick out in front, and it makes it nice and easy. Now, he doesn't get paid the mark, so he's got to fashion something pretty clever on the run. But I just reckon players with the ball have got to look for those leads. It's a high-quality finish from Paddy Ryder, and pumped.
Ruckman standing 197 centimetres, able to get it done. The Saints with a couple of goals in a couple of minutes towards the end of this first term, and it's a 1-point ball game. There's Ross, a little toe poke out of the square. Saints will move it forward again. Crouch took the contact but got the handball away. Ross, Dunstan. Now Connolly. A high ball inside 50. Edwards with the spoil. Sheed taking the ground. And another stoppage.
That might be a bit of the recipe too, Jace. We've seen every time the ball's come in long, West Coast in such good position defensively, ability to get over and outnumber. The lead-ups might just be the spot that they're a little bit more vulnerable defensively.
Natanui able to palm that one down the throat of Kelly. High kick to the wing, plenty of players underneath it. Off the hands of Ryder. He'll try to rove it. Allen nudged him off it. Wilkie the support. Back for Brad Hill. Wilkie again, but West Coast have got numbers everywhere. Just waiting for that intercept and a very rare drop mark from Jeremy McGovern. He keeps the heat on.
I know he dropped the mark, but again, look at the positioning of the Eagles behind the ball there. Just so well organised, so well set up. I mean, that's what has made them a really good side over the last 5 years. They've been really tough to get through in that situation.
Ruck work, great again from Ryder. Hearn up strong, King in the middle of that pack. Dunstan, they were out over the back. He just couldn't get the kick through. Hearn, West, but a steady, composed from the second gamer. Out wide to the wing. Now West Coast might just get a break their way. Cripps, his high kick, tailor-made for Howard.
There was really good positioning there from Dougal Howard. Josh Kennedy not happy. Wasn't where the kick was wanted from his perspective.
Really great contest in the first quarter in the West. The Eagles made the jump. The Saints fought back. And at quarter time, just 1 point separating these two teams. The Eagles leading it by 1.
They were able to rectify St Kilda once they got the ball on the deck in their own forward 50, then they were able to work their way back into the contest. So that'd be a focus here in the second quarter.
Underway second term. Ryder and Natanui been fascinating so far. Ryder, of course, with the goal, taking the points as this one sent to half forward. Ross able to retrieve. Feed it back. Caulfield copped a tough bounce. O'Neill and then Gaff with the fumble. Time to go back and find it again. And just swing it in towards Darling. There was some holding going on, and it'll be a free kick to the Eagle.
Yeah, this is an issue last week for St Kilda on the bigger bodies, the key forwards for the opposition. So last week against Port Adelaide, they had a number of holding frees inside 50. Just knowing that you're a little bit undersized in the contest, it can just lead to that little bit of panic. Okay, I've got to get really proactive with my body work, and that's what Wilkie was done for then.
He's had a lean patch, Jack Darling, but Adam Simpson saying he's got plenty of credits in the bank. And that's why he can have an impact. Darling kicks his first of the afternoon.
Well, that's just what you want when you've been experiencing a bit of a lean run of form. Jack Darling, one thing you could never question is his work rate. So sometimes as a key forward, you'll go through those lean patches, but if you keep putting yourself in the spot where the ball's going to finish up, you keep leading, you keep getting under the high ball, eventually it's going to turn. You might mark it, you might get a free kick. That one was certainly there. So well done, Jack Darling.
Second goal of the season for Jack Darling. Just one behind Josh Kennedy, who kicked one earlier on in this match. The Eagles get an early goal to start this second term. Ryder had the leap, but Natanui the reach with the hit out. Destined for another stoppage in the middle.
Bit of a stalemate at centre bounce at the moment. Both of these sides really are used to getting pretty good service from their ruckman, but they're cancelling each other out. Well, that's a good knock.
Great thump by Ryder. Hearn able to win it back to Duggan. Brander, the Medi sub, with 29 disposals in the waffle last week to a recall back to the squad. Kelly will find West. Again finding a bit of the footy.
You called him earlier, perhaps, with composure in his second game. He does look a ready-made player, doesn't he?
With the mid-season draft, Connor West. Straight into the setup. And looking a ready-made player as the kick from Crouch will be intercepted. Hearn will send it back quickly. And Cripps had made space wide. He looks up, pokes it in short, and Darling on the lead again.
So they're making him defend, really. They're getting great separation. Their foot skills are on, the West Coast Eagles, and it's making defending very, very difficult for the Saints. They're getting opened up, particularly in that forward 50, with plenty of space ahead of the player leading.
It's off turnover, isn't it, Jace? A couple of those kicks, almost just dump kicks out of the St Kilda backline. The forwards are out of play, and they can just intercept those key Eagle defenders.
Jack Darling, he can jump up in a quarter and get busy, and he's got two to start this second term.
Yeah, well, you called it, Pav. You called Jack Darling before the game needing to hit some form, and he has so far. That's the kick that caused it. And if you looked up at the top of screen, you could see West Coast had the exits really well sealed. So Brad Crouch was forced to go back to the traffic, back to the busy side of the ground. West Coast had populated that part of the ground really well too. The turnover came, St Kilda were caught out of position, and that's the forward craft you were talking about in the first quarter, Jace. The easiest one in the book just comes straight at the kicker. It's an easy hitter.
So it becomes a structure issue, Roo. If that outlet kick, we know how well West Coast set up behind the long ball. You've got to avoid kicking it back to those numbers, which means you've got to provide different options for the player coming off half-back.
No disposals for Jack Darling in the first quarter, but he's burst out of the blocks to start the second with a couple of quick goals. Now St Kilda need to respond again. Steele to Jones. The long kick, Rotham spoiled. Shepherd will clear it, but it'll come back in. And Steele gets involved again. Lots of numbers back for the Eagles in defence. The kick has to be a good one. Drops a bit shallow. Brander sucked into the game, couldn't hang on. Burns. Oh, good kick off the side of the boot, but Gaff will intercept.
Even those last two inside 50s, they've gone to Jack Billings on both occasions. King and Memory, the two tools, have been camped sort of way back, waiting for the kick in between. It's that structure you're talking about, Jace. The right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing right now.
Yeah, and those big players have got to put themselves in better positions to be used.
I know we had the size mismatch there on Hill, but Wilkie able to help out, drift across.
That's the key, Jace, for a key forward. You've got to make them kick the ball to you. You just have to get in a position where they can't ignore you, just like that.
Yep. Big clank by King. Trying to gain an extra metre so he can go back and strike through it.
So you hear people talk about, make yourself big, make yourself a presence in front of the ball. So get your arms out, make yourself, the movement attracts the eye.
Just the one goal last week against the Power for Max King. His best return of the season was the 5 he kicked against West Coast back in round 4. Haven't seen much of it yet so far, but that is a delightful finish from long range from Max King.
That's the one you want to see, isn't it? The big man coming out, taking the contested mark, then going back and kicking the 50-metre goal. Importantly, what he was able to manufacture, at least with the lead, was a one-on-one. So he wasn't outnumbered. He didn't have McGovern peeling off. You can see McGovern on Billings at the bottom of screen. He's too far away. Hearn's not there to intercept. So you create a one-on-one, and that's all you want as a key forward, is the ability to compete against your opponent at a fair ball.
Nice fluid action there. Had a few issues this year with the goal kicking, Max King, but quite often to get one at that sort of range early, it just forces you to really commit to the kick.
Yeah, great.
25 goals now for the season for King. Out of the middle, Steele lost it. Jones, who's been busy, I suppose another 10. Sends it out wide. Hutchings share it with Rotham, working in a tight space, but running out of room. Mark Hutchings back. First game in quite a while, round 16 last year. And only had the 3 games last season, been battling some issues with a hamstring, quad injury as well. McGovern doing the ruck work. Straight down to Dunstan, but another stoppage.
Most of the numbers, as we look at all the different statistical categories, are pretty similar, which is why we've got a good contest on the scoreboard, and it looks to be a pretty even game at the moment.
Kelly, to pinch it. Needs to get rid of it though. Had it in the one arm, but given the benefit, we will ball up.
Well, Paul Hunter's got to find a way to get on top of McGovern in this situation, the hit-outs, because around the ground, McGovern's going to have him covered in every aspect.
Oh, what a mark by Oscar Allen.
How good is that?
With courage, throwing himself at the footy to complete the intercept.
He's such a talent, isn't he? I mean, he started the game in the forward line. He's now having to play down back because of the McGovern and Natanui's situation where he goes into the ruckers. This one's almost turned over, but he is a serious talent.
Brander under pressure. He's dragged it back over the line.
That should be deliberate. because his only intention there was to run himself over the boundary line and make it look like he was under pressure. Now, he did it very cleverly, but there was no other option when you run straight to the boundary to think that you're going to run around your opponent.
Disguised it just enough, lucky to get away with it. Billings back to Burns, and there's a fumble. This might release West Coast as Kelly just bangs it on the boot. Navarino after it. On the paddle boundary side. Darling with desperation. Now has to tackle Wilkie. That'll be locked up, and warm applause from the Eagles fans. So great to have a big crowd in. It's not possible in most parts of the country right now. And times it's been locked out here as well. And take it while we can get it and enjoy the atmosphere. We're seeing a good game of footy.
And you're getting your wish too, Nick Revolt. Hunter with the last couple of clearances doing well at those stoppages.
Membry, drive it in. King again. Terrific mark. A commanding presence inside 50.
So let's hope it's a deliberate adjustment. But what they're doing is kicking to a one-on-one, and they're giving King the best chance to run and jump at the footy. And Big Max hasn't let him down the last couple of times, really.
Well, Pav called earlier that the King and Membry was sort of camping deep almost. Well, there was Membry that was much further up the ground then. So just by having that separation vertically rather than horizontally, you create, or more likely to create, one-on-ones.
In his second season, Max King, the real star of the competition. Last set shot was delightful. That one is just as good. And King kicks a couple in the quarter.
It was the kick from Membry that really drew King to the ball. Let's just have a look at him here down the bottom of the screen. He's got good position, but he's allowed to take 3 or 4 or 5 steps and then launch at the footy as a forward. That's what you want. You want to be able to take the 3 or 4 steps, launch at the ball. Edwards is caught on the back foot, and that's why he's a star of the game, because he can present when he's in the right position with authority. And what a great kick this is.
It's a good finish. It's a good finish, the last couple of kicks from Max King. It hasn't been their strength in recent years. Nick Revolt, what you would give to see a red one as the exception and not the green one.
Yeah. Well, last week, I think 0 goals, 8 from set shots last week. So
it
started
decides
well
games.
today. It does. It did last week, absolutely.
So Darling kicks a couple at one end, King 2 at the other. And the Saints fight back to that 1-point margin as we had at quarter time. Boone threatened to go long and then went short. They're not expecting the handball was gaff. Shepherd handballed it to him when he wasn't expecting it. And the Saints a chance to win it back. The West Coast all moving the other way. It's taken them a while to find it, but the Saints come up with it. Sinclair looks in short. Ross has to wait. And they'll go forward again. He sends it wide. Dug it in the road. They're wanting Membry. Sent too far wide in the end. Just not able to capitalise on that error in the end as Billings kicks it out on the full.
I know people probably blame Andrew Gaff for taking his eye off the ball, but the original hand pass was ignored. So he's put his head forward and thought, OK, where can I get involved at the next possession? And then the hand pass came and nearly knocked him over.
Adenui wrestling there with Hunter. Gaff send it long on the bounce to Kennedy. Howard trying to corral him. Kick around the body was great to find Cripps. The Eagles on the burst again. Waterman the target.
Just a couple of great kicks.
They do it as well as anyone, West Coast, don't they? The ability to find space, keep possession by foot. They're chalking up those marks we spoke about earlier. They're maintaining possession, and their confidence skyrockets when they're hitting their targets like this.
Jake Waterman had a couple of chances so far this afternoon. Kicked 4 in the waffle last weekend. And that one straightens. Didn't come back enough. Out of behind.
Went both ways. Started to come back and then went away again, which perhaps suggests it wasn't the purest of strikes.
Led off for the Saints. Now off half-back. This is where Hill can be dangerous. Changes mind a couple of times. Dunstan back for the run of Hill. Now the kick back inboard. Jones sandwiched between a couple. Good enough to hang on.
He's just making it up as he went. Brett Hill on that last one.
He may have got lucky with the kick too.
If he doesn't know where he's going, no one else does either. And it makes it tough to defend. And Jones to Membry.
So that's a good kick as well. A one-on-one for Membry to have a run and jump at it.
And he'll sting it in low again, but it's all West Coast. And Rotham with the outstretched hands.
And that was the wrong kick. So even if King got there to compete, he was 1 against 3.
Allen best position. Knocked down by Claverino. Ross spun around a couple of times and it spills out. Fans wanted a free kick. Hill to scoot away again. Good tackle by Cripps. Natanui burying Sinclair. That was a high tackle.
They're not going to like that because I reckon he was gone, Sebros. And then you could make a case for Brad Hill being caught holding the ball as well on that occasion.
Whether it's cheers or boos, it's great to have the noise at the footy as it's sent long. Edwards a good spoil. Sheed just trying to fight it between the legs. Connolly couldn't either. Hutchings gained some territory. Cripps presenting up. Overlap from Langdon. Kennedy's got space. Open forward line. Oscar Allen's one out. Kennedy has to go off the left. Tees it up high. 2-on-1. Sinclair back to help. Allen to ground. Saints recover. Late defensive work by St Kilda. Jones can steady out wide to Ross.
So he just didn't quite have the penetration, Kennedy, on the left foot, did he?
It worked so hard, Oscar Allen. He'd run the length of the ground to get ahead of the footy and create an opportunity.
Disposal number 12 for Brad Hill. Now Webster driving for distance. 2-foot jump from Membry. Long with the underground option. Waterman knew he had support. Rotham paddled it back. A little dangerously, but Shepherd was there. Waterman a long way up the ground. It's over the head of Duggan, who will just swap the boundary line as he's tackled over. And out of play.
Boys, Paddy Ryder has been on the bench for a long period of time. He's just coming back on to the ground. He's had almost 10 minutes off the ground. He was working, or the staff were working on his left calf, so he's back out there, but we'll keep an eye on him. Nick Natanui's been running rampant in the meantime in the ruck against the St Kilda's number 2, who's just escaped at the moment. But he's gone. But yeah, thank you. He's gone off as well. But Paddy Ryder back on.
As Yost taken out of play, so we'll keep a watch on that. It really has been, Jason Ruitt, a fascinating battle between Ryder and Natanui.
It has been, and if Paddy Ryder isn't at his best, that might sway things in West Coast's favour. So it is a close one to keep an eye on.
Both of them so good at hit-outs to advantage, except that one was a disadvantage for Ryder as he hit Kelly instead, up towards Kennedy, tapping it away. A handball over the top. Kelly continued to run. He was the one that won the clearance, and now he's got the finish.
Well, that's what the great ball hunters do. They just follow up their own work time and again, keep putting themselves in the spot where the ball's most likely to end up. So you can see him here, just classical roving to the ruckman, and then you can see the spread from the stoppage. He just outworked everyone. Great ability to hunt the footy, Tim Kelly. We know that's why he's been such a consistent midfielder with his respects to being able to win the ball. There's no secret there. He just spread harder than anyone else.
Ten disposals now for Tim Kelly. 6th goal of the season.
That's why teams put such a value on two-way running in the midfield. It's okay to run hard forward. You've got to be able to do it the other way, and the St Kilda midfield found wanting then. Here he goes again.
Kelly on the burst, sending it long towards Kennedy, who's got a third bite. Did he kick it on the way through there?
He did.
It came off his boot.
He did. He kicked it to himself to keep it off the deck. Dougal Howard thought he'd done the hard work. He thought he'd pushed Kennedy under the footy, and then he just stepped back thinking, mark coming. But Kennedy was still able to get the hands up, parry the ball forward, and then find a way with his shin to keep it off the deck and take the mark.
Does that technically count if he's kicked it on the way in between?
You can mark it with any part of your body as long as it doesn't hit the deck.
It's been paid. And Josh Kennedy from close range sends it straight through. Impact for the Eagles out of the middle. And Kennedy finishes it off with his second.
Gee, they've come in bursts for the Eagles, haven't they? There's the value of Nat Nui, the follow-up at ground level. We know his ability to win the ball in tight in the clinches like that. That's what separates him from other ruckmen in the competition. When they get a run on like this, the Eagles, you feel like they could really just put 4 or 5 quick ones on an opposition, such as their dominance from centre bounce. It's another way of getting it done.
One of the more unusual ways of completing a mark. Josh Kennedy having a laugh about it as well with Callum Wilkie. Back in the middle we go. Natanui to Kelly. He's having an exceptional quarter as he just backs out of traffic, wins it, tries to hit O'Neill. Sinclair was good. Natanui slides in. Contact the legs there, taken by Crouch. Back for Hill. Gaff with a high bump as they crash in. As it's allowed to play. West emerges into the pocket. Waterman. Brad Hill still a little slow to get back to his feet. Waterman's going to be taken on a tighter angle.
Does he go the left foot round the corner or the banana? See what he's thinking.
15 seconds gone. 15 seconds gone.
He might be a banana man by the looks of it.
He's had some opportunities so far this afternoon. As he goes for the banana. Fair effort, but another miss, 3 behinds. Another look at this incident.
Yeah, he called it a high bump. Perhaps I reckon he's just split him down the middle.
It was shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah,
And they
great
both turn
contest.
side on again, which is what we want the players doing.
Good call by the umpire to let it keep going. As the Eagles win it again. Sending it long is Cripps. Off a couple of steps, he sends it through. West Coast making a move.
Yeah, just the last 5 minutes. The Eagles have taken it up a notch here from a physicality point of view, and St Kilda haven't been able to respond. So just all the critical contests. They're committing to the footy, they've been clean, and then from there it's just been surge mentality. It started with Kelly from the stoppage. Let's set up the Kennedy goal. And then again this one, repeat inside 50s, win it back on turnover and go hard at your opposition. Handy break now for the Eagles.
Jamie Cripps with a goal.
You're not moving that well. Had a distinctive link on him there. Let's hope he's okay. That's a spectacular finish.
Matt Allen into the ruck. Here's a few different players in there as the Saints win the clearance. Big pack up. They spoil it down to the front. Duncan will just clear it back from whence it came. A big spiral back out to the wing. Cripps moving a little better now as he tracks it towards the boundary line and sees it out of play and just about goes into the locker room bar. He's not happy with Sinclair, who he thinks gave him a little nudge.
Not exactly what you're looking for when you're running flat. Stick of the fence is a little bit of assistance, forward motion.
There's a real drop-off on the other side of that fence as well if he went tumbling over the top. Is Jones. Neat side step inside. King's been the threat. McGovern right there with him shoulder to shoulder. Rotherham didn't handle it properly.
Got to be gone.
Great tackle. Excellent follow-up. And the free kick goes to the Saints and they get a chance to kick a much-needed one to try and halt the momentum of the Eagles.
Got a few shaky moments, hasn't he? That's good forward pressure.
Well, that's what he's brought, hasn't he,
Yep.
since going forward. This is a man that is aggressive with his pressure.
Ben Long, always hard at the footy. 2 goals 7 for the season. Finishing, not his strong suit this season. That one across the face.
So what he is doing is he's providing great pressure. He tackles, he chases, he does all of those things. What he hasn't quite been able to add to his repertoire is getting enough of the footy and hitting the scoreboard.
Burn long out of defence. Test of strength between Yeo and Crouch. Crouch kept his feet. And often sees it out.
Yeah, there's a reason they call it starvation corner, Jace. The life of a small forward, sometimes it's just not defined by possessions. Sometimes you are genuinely there to provide that forward pressure. And
yep.
If you're in a team that's doing that consistently well, then you can't help but find the scoreboard at times because you get really good looks at goal.
But they're the opportunities when you're not finding much of the footy that you've got to convert.
You've got to be efficient with it. Yep.
Holding free kick goes West Coast way. You want to keep the run going as Gaff controls it up the boundary. Darling now. Not in a hurry. The Eagles will switch it. Govan could have gone wider to Hearn, instead straighten things up.
So what you're hoping for, if you're the Eagles from here, is with all this shifting of the ball and movement, you just create a poor decision from a St Kilda defender, and then you get the overlap.
Sheed to West. Scores on number 8 for Connor West, and then to the man who's had an excellent quarter in Tim Kelly. So we dispose of number 15 for the match. He sends it in low. Darling, Alan Kennedy all there, but waiting down was Elliot Yeo. He dropped the footy. Didn't kick it in the end, but he's still going, and a chance to snap. He did it the hard way, and in the end put himself into pressure. Just didn't release the kick in the end.
I don't know what happened first time around.
The only thing I could think of is he thought, I haven't dropped this well enough. So I haven't dropped it where it's going to be able to snap across my body, because he wasn't under that much pressure. Still almost made it work.
Margin 21. What has belonged to the Eagles so far? In the first term, it's the Saints that just hit back in the last couple of minutes. And a free kick here as they wrestle for the ball. Shannon Hearn, game number 299 this afternoon. Long kick up inside 50. Darling got one over the back of the head. Kennedy trying to find Yeo again. Webster caused a disruption. Cripps tumbles to goal. Crouch playing that sweeper roll back there. Great pressure, Darling. And Oscar Allen as he socked through a goal. He's touched right on the goal line. Great defensive act by Jack Darling.
He would have had a heart attack, Brad Krause. Smothered off the boot. Oh. Caulfield able to get his fingers on the ball. Got Brad Crouch out of trouble.
Nice call from the goal umpire there too.
Yeah, he didn't need to.
He
was in good position.
Yep.
He saw it. He called it.
We like that. We like preserving those minutes.
Dougal Howard. And with this kick, Doogie Howser out of bounds on the full. And Dom Sheed will be the recipient. Sheed will send it back into the pocket. Over the head. Kelly spinning out of trouble again. In there, Yeo. Langdon. Now Jones. Caulfield. Under the pump, the Saints, but they can get out of the fence. Perhaps it's knocked down again, and the pressure again from West Coast good.
Wow, they're just playing with just such incredible efficiency, the Eagles, in this second quarter. That has always been their strong hand, how efficient they are going forward.
Caulfield. Wrapped up. It'll be a ball up.
They kicked 5 goals from 12 entries in this second term. So basically every time they get it in there, they're hitting the scoreboard.
Under 2 minutes to go to the half. Kelly. Waterman trying to flick it over the back. Darling in there, and he's caught holding the ball. And get rid of it properly. The Saints will have it. In under the pump in this second term.
Yeah, this has been the kick that's really been troubling them, St Kilda. They haven't been able to find a free player just to be able to march the ball out and get some field position back.
Up towards Natanui, who's in front position, but the Saints got a fleet of players at ground level. Burns along the boundary line to steal. Great tackle. Holding the ball, Elliot Yeo had him all wrapped up. And the fans are on their feet, applauding the intent from the home team. The tackling pressure being right up. Kelly's a smooth mover, and that delivery is exceptional.
Again, it's the physicality and the pressure. The Eagles have gone to another level in this second term. They've almost dared the Saints to come with them, and so far they haven't been able to answer the challenge. A lot of their prime movers getting involved too. Kelly's had a brilliant term, up to 12 disposals now.
Leads West Coast for inside 50s, Tim Kelly. When he uses it like that, he can take full effect. As Josh Kennedy just unloads from long range. Kennedy with a long bomb just before the half.
This has been irresistible from the Eagles. Great chase down tackle from Elliot Yeo. He brings a lot of grunt to this team, and then Kelly's hard running really troubled the opposing mids. Hit the scoreboard himself. He's able to lace out the gun key forward then, so Kelly up to 12 touches for the term and a goal. And the big boys hitting the scoreboard. Kennedy and Darling 2 apiece in this second quarter. That's 6 goals for now from 14 entries from the Eagles. So that famous efficiency that has stood them in such good stead. At times it's made them vulnerable, but when they're on and they're executing, there is no better team in the competition at executing when they go forward.
Tim Kelly on fire in this second term. A run and a bounce to 50 from the clearance. Allen down there wrestling. The Saints just trying to survive the last couple of seconds. Caulfield sends it wide, and it just pitches inside the field of play. Eagles keep it alive. Gaff stabs it in short, and the siren will beat them. As Cripps took the mark, just 15 out from goal. Frustrated with that, but the Eagles will be feeling good heading into the half. A dominant display in that second quarter, taking it from a 1-point margin at the first change to a 28-point lead at the half.
Their way back into this contest. Really critical that they find a way to equalise in the midfield. Thought the midfielders for West Coast really got on top there, and a lot of supply going forward and really efficient use. So that second term was a bit of a throwback to the best footy we've seen from West Coast at times this year after what has been a lean month.
It was, and Adam Simpson would be thrilled to see it. St Kilda must start well here.
It's a must-win game for both of these teams. The Saints want to keep putting some pressure on those in the 8. And West Coast trying to hang on to a September spot. Natanui right out of the middle. Forward towards O'Neill. Didn't get a great bounce. West tapped it back in that direction. Good bump from Jones as they crash in. A heavy one right to the ribs of O'Neill from Jones. Picks himself up.
Well, that's what you want to see if you're Brett Ratton. Some physicality, because the Eagles bullied the Saints in the second.
Steele in and under. Eagles fighting forward amongst themselves.
You know what? I absolutely love the bump because he gets low. There's nothing anywhere remotely near the head. What I didn't like was when another St Kilda player pushed him while he was down, when you're never quite sure how much he's hurt, Rui.
No, I don't like that.
Yo's got it, just sends it into the pocket. Howard, the spoil. Langdon dangerous in the pocket, got it back up to Darling. Sinclair with a couple of important tackles just to win it back for the Saints. Burns a tumbling ball. Rotham trying to see it to the line, but Membry kept it in. A kick to the wing. King has got the support of Butler, who's fleet of foot and able to walk through. Now to Kemp, looks up, got a man on in the square, decides to take the responsibility. but pushes it wide.
It's the opportunity they were looking for, and it just comes down to the finishing. Really good one-on-one up on the wing from Membry, and that enabled them to get numbers ahead of the footy. And it just came down to finishing. Kent unable to hit the target.
Turn. Out towards Sheed and playing front Ross. Early goals for the Saints would be golden.
It's those post-clearance contested possessions like the one Membry got then and Ross. I mean, the Eagles got right on top in that second quarter in that area of the game. Contested footy outside of the clearance, but the Saints have actually started this quarter quite well, and they need to.
Great contested mark there from King.
If I remember correctly, perhaps earlier in the year when the Saints got hold of West Coast led comfortably early, didn't they?
Yeah, 33 points it was, 16 minutes into the third term, before the Saints just completely flipped the game on its head.
Yeah, on the back of pressure, that was. They just got after them. It's almost like there'd been a fuse lit underneath them at half-time.
Max King had a big say that day. He's not going to take the set shot. He pulls the kick in instead, but it went straight to Elliot Yeo.
Nothing worse doing that when you're one of the forwards that's demanding good service, and then you go and turn it over like that. And he really, whatever wavelength he was on, none of his teammates were anywhere remotely near it.
Yeah, no chemistry.
Dangerous kick into the corridor there from Sheed, but Hutchings was up to it. And McGovern out wide to Kennedy, pushing up to the wing. St Kilda rolling back. Forcing the Eagles short. Wasn't 15 to Duggan. Now Shepherd. Send it wide again. Cripps working hard to some space. Just got away from Howard. Turns to go quickly and gets Langdon. That's the type of service the Saints wanted at the other end. It's going to be a difficult shot from the forward pocket.
It's just such clever use from Cripps.
He's a good player, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a smart user. He really works hard. He keeps you honest as a half-back. That's what he does. So many half-backs, they play an aggressive style where they really are there for their offensive capability as much as their defensive work. But a player like Cripps, because he's got such a big tank, he becomes an almost a conduit between the mids and the forwards, the way he's able to win the ball.
Zach Langdon going in and out of the side this season. Recruit from the Giants. That one will pitch right at the square. Natanui takes the big contested grab in the pack and finishes off his own work.
Great start for the Eagles. They get a chance now to actually put St Kilda to the sword. Can they re-establish the confidence in their game that they need as they approach the finals? Because their last month has been so far below their normal standards. But if you get Nick Nat taking big contested marks up forward, Paddy Ryder just got pushed under the foot. He wasn't able to get a hand on it. Natanui takes the mark, kicks the goal. They're up and about, the Eagles. Absolute perfect start for the Eagles.
Saw Ryder drift forward and do that in the first term.
He just got pushed under the ball there, but what was interesting, poor old Tim Membry tried to do everything right, went up with the big jump and one-arm spoil, just couldn't get high enough to get to the ball.
When Nick Natanui launches like that, there aren't many that can get a fist as high as he can mark the footy.
Back in the middle, Ryder will win that hit out, but Sheed had it for a moment, spills out towards Kelly. That's such a dominant second term, left behind here. Dunstan wins it, sends it goalward, bounce important, but McGovern will get back and send it to Hutchings. Strong grab under some heavy pressure from Billings. Ninth season for Mark Hutchings. Back on the rookie list, actually started his career at the Saints on the rookie list, but never cracked it for a game before going back to West Coast. And kick up to half-back Yeo. Been good in and under. Langdon up the line. Couldn't quite return the favour to Cripps. Cripps kept it alive and then works it 1-2 with Kennedy. Hill hassling him out of it. Yeo slipped over. Back into the action with an important touch. Tracking after the footy again. Strong pressure, but into the back, that one.
Oh,
he's carrying him forward.
He drew that, Langdon.
Yeah.
Perhaps you called it well.
How good was Elliot Yeo then?
Yeah.
He was the one that started at 50 metres before that.
Yep.
He's just such a physical player, physical midfielder.
Long time out of the game, Yeo, but made such a difference since returning. Sheed sold the dummy, back to West. Jones, a good smother. He does the little tough things as well. And out of defence with a handball, get an advantage. Free kick to the Saints. Jones dealt with, got a push after he got rid of Billings to Butler. Slides past Edwards. And nothing to go to forward, so decides to chip short back to Billings. Now they'll bomb it long. The Saints can get set up. And King drifting in front. A classic pack mark. And again, they just couldn't reach over him. And Clark's another.
If the Saints get back into it, this is the man that's going to cause the turnaround. He's got his confidence up. We saw him take a couple of great contested marks in the first half. He kicked the goals. Now, that is a terrific mark in plenty of traffic. If he can follow up with another good kick here. Look at that grip. That is a very different grip. Left hand right across the front of it, right hand at the side. But it works.
It works very, very well for Max King. A much-needed goal for the Saints.
It's one of the best performances I've seen from him, Rui.
Yep.
Just the way that he's attacking contested marking situations and holding his ball. Look at the way he drifts in across the front and then goes back with the ball.
Oscar Allen's done the exact same thing.
Yes.
So he's used to doing that as a forward. I think he might have just forgotten where he was on the ground. Usually you'd see a defender in that situation get the big fist in, but Allen's so used to trying to clunk those himself.
Look at that ball grip. The right hand's at the side, almost at the back on the side, and the left hand comes right around the front and actually goes over the laces.
The difference, I think, since the bye for Max King is he's converting in front of goal, so his goal-kicking accuracy has gone through the roof, but he's completing his plays. He's getting to more contests, yes, but he's actually completing his plays. I think, you know, his first season and a half, he got to so many of those where he was head and shoulders above the pack, but just not quite finishing the play and holding the mark.
But I think one feeds the other. If you're kicking well, you're then attacking the ball with confidence, taking your marks better. Or if you're marking well, it's going to help your confidence when you get to the kicking. So the better he plays in any facet of his game, I think everything's going to improve.
27 points the margin. Darling doing the ruck work against Hunter. Pushing through Hutchings, but another stoppage. Keeping an eye on Paddy Ryder. He's looking a little bit sore earlier on in the game. But Hunter now with the task of trying to win the footy while Ryder's on the bench. West Coast win it back here. Gaff. Shielding his eyes from that gap in the stadium. Sees the sun filtering through. Waterman threw himself at it. Taken it around Langdon. Another stoppage inside 50.
Yeah, Paddy Ryder spending that time on the bench. I mean, they do it anyway. You don't want to lose any player, but particularly with Marshall not out there, you just can't afford a player like Ryder to go down.
Darling hatching on top of it. Just spilt out. I mentioned before, Nick, the impact that Marshall and Ryder have together. They've won 14 of 21 with that combo in the team, but only 5 of 15 without having one of them in the side.
Yeah, the advantage being when they're both there, the ability to win clearance clearly goes up, and then you're playing the game from your half of the ground. So defensively, you're much more sound.
Darling able to get it out. Yeo, Brander, now to Kelly. Back they go to McGovern. Losing territory. This one spills through Membry, and the Saints will just get the break, and they're out here inside 50. The kick can get over the top to Billings. The West Coast looked like they were able to just about to turn and fire towards goal, but the Saints overwhelming them and sweeping it up the ground.
Good kick by Seb Ross in the end. Got good penetration over the top of Rotham to find Billings. Must convert here.
Yeah, massive kick.
We've already got one this afternoon. Jack Billings. 14-11 for the season. Big one for the Saints' momentum, but hooks it across. And a real letdown as his side were trying to creep a little closer. Eagles able to just chip it around out of defence. Rotham Sheed, though, slipping over on the turf. Fingertip or two away from still being able to get a touch on it, but it's out of play. And a boundary throw in.
Paddy, in here, lad. Nick Paddy, in here. You're a long way back.
Umpire telling the ruckman that you're a long way back. You better come a little bit closer.
I'll be asking the umpire when he was last playing in the ruck.
Paddled down.
Do it our way, I reckon.
No sympathy from Nick Rewald as he's your harsh route. And ball comes back.
Seriously.
You're asking the boundary umpire to throw it into the centre square.
Need a couple of extra wheat bix for breakfast to make it that far. There's on the wing, Duggan, Rotham. And now Shepherd. Up to the 50, Darling in a 2-on-1, and Wilkie the support to come across and see it out. As we get down to Matthew Pavlich.
You've just been watching Brad Crouch for the last couple of minutes. He's only had the 8 disposals to this point in the game, Nick Rewald, and he's in around the midfield group, just not really having the effect on this game. How have you seen his time at the Saints?
Oh, he's had a really good patch, probably the last 6 weeks. His numbers, his ability to win the contested footy have been through the roof. So, yeah, down on what has been the recent trend, and this little bit of play is probably not going to help him. That's not a good sign either for the Eagles.
Absolutely not. He's the leading possession winner on the ground. Tim Kelly with 20 and a goal.
Neat sidestep from Gaff. Keep you up to date with those as off a number of sets of hands there. Natanui trying to take it. Billings. Hill, Steele. And here's Crouch on the boot. It was over the head of Membry, and Rotham able to intercept, and he wants to relaunch back inside 50. Natanui down there. Allen wanted to fly. Off hands again. Webster tackle without it. No free kick. Ryder crashed in. Allen gathers. And it's all halved. And Kelly off the ground. Natanui down. Hutchings. The Eagles have already used their medi-sub. I think back to round 4. The Eagles had a handy lead. They copped a couple of injuries. And the Saints laid on in a third term were able to find a way to turn it completely around. The pressure went up a couple of notches. It's 26 at the moment. It was 33 this stage of the game earlier on in the season. Saints ended up winning by 20. Hearn under the pump. Long making him work for it. The veteran able to recover. The Eagles not in a rush.
Spoke about those uncontested mark numbers for the Eagles in the first term. Just ticked over 70.
Yeah, and if they hit 110, they win the game of football as the general rule, so they're well on track to hit that mark.
Saints haven't beaten the Eagles in Perth since way back in 2010. It's been a tough place for them to come and play. O'Neill up through the ground, finds Langdon. Sheed want that left boot, go to handball instead. And so Langdon into a bit of trouble. Shepherd stabs it. He's able to pick it way through. Gaff, that one knocked away. Important touch. Turnover again in the corridor. Steele wide. King wants it to sit. Leaves it instead for Long. Twisting one way and then the other. Connolly. And now Kent. Kilda building. Can they get it back to that 20-point margin? Not with that entry. Rotham chops it off again.
Yeah, it's just...
Oh, a terrible bounce. Went back over his shoulder. St Kilda a chance to poach it. Butler does just that. A horrendous mistake. Deep in defence. The cruelest of bounces. And the margin is just 20.
I think we can say that's against the run of play.
Yeah, well, it lulled me into a false sense of security. I was about to
It was a horrible inside 50.
The dump kick, yeah. Goodness me. I mean, there's no need to bounce it there for a start. He'd only taken 5 steps, and Adam Simpson's response in the coach's box was priceless. Really, they're ones when it's hard to be too critical of the play because it's just an execution issue. There's no lack of effort or carelessness.
Well, Tim Kelly is back, boys. He's gone down the rooms. He's been down there for quite some time, but he has resurfaced. It doesn't look like he's in too much pain or distress. So good news there for the Eagles that Tim Kelly is back on the bench and expecting to see him back out there soon.
Lucky break for the Saints. And it's back to a 20-point margin. We need a play in this third term. The Eagles get the clearance. But Sinclair able to trap it. Hill. All wide for Long. Shepherd right there with him. Brander through the traffic again. 1-2 with Yo. Working the wrong direction. Back to McGovern in his milestone game and slows it down to Shee. Feeling it a bit behind play. Keep an eye on him as well. Good kick. One back by the Saints. Howard. Caulfield crunched. Turned into trouble. Holding the ball.
That's a great gang tackle, isn't it? If they can adopt that attitude for 4 quarters, they're going to beat most teams, West Coast.
West has got it. Oh. Poor execution.
Right option, though.
Yeah.
Right option.
He was in acres of space, Hutchings. He just missed him.
Now the Saints want to run and gun right through the middle. Butler got the handball over the top. It opens up again. Steele looks long. Drives it towards King with the reach. But McGovern recovers to spoil. Membry still a chance. Burns off a step. Sends it long. But just wide.
Had King on the short lead too.
Yeah, he had the chip over the top, didn't he? Jack Steele coming out of the middle. Sorry, Paps.
The Saints certainly lifting.
Well, they got gifted a goal, which got them back to 20 points. All of a sudden, you get a little glimmer of hope, and it's just a matter of capitalising on these opportunities when they get them.
Kelly just back on the ground, but was ignored. He was in a bit of space on the wing. Natanui in the air and will complete the mark. Something he's not always known for, but he's been holding on to them nicely this afternoon. Shepherd releases up towards O'Neill. Ross disrupted it. Hits the deck. Crouch sockers, but Kennedy accepts. He was just off the bench as well. Like a magnet, it went straight to his chest. And now O'Neill can send West Coast. Chasing a steadier, and Waterman gets a free run at the footy.
Well, and have a look at the inquisition going on behind play. Players talking, pointing, waving their arms. It's no good now. It's a bit late now.
Yeah, well, that's right. And Zach Jones is a midfielder, so he's not usually cast in this role. But sometimes that doesn't matter. Sometimes it's just your responsibility to fly.
Yep.
And he had to on that occasion. So that's a really disappointing effort.
Three behinds in the match so far for Jake Waterman. Hasn't split the middle just yet. It's the easiest of his opportunities. And from the set shot, he steers it through. Much needed steadier for West Coast.
And so that looks bad too, when there's an apportioning of blame off the back of it, and everyone trying to duck shove the blame onto someone else. And maybe, I agree with you wholeheartedly, he had to go. If you're looking to make a defence for him, perhaps there wasn't sufficient talk saying he had to go, but I mean, as an experienced player, I think you need to sum up the situation and say, if I'm unsure, I'm going anyway.
Well, you can see there before, he points, and so he hands over. So Waterman does become his man. So he absolutely has to fly in that situation. It's all well and good to turn around and point the finger. But when it's your turn to go, he went and Waterman put his name on it. He was the only one that wanted to fly it. And he got the rewards. Good response from the Eagles.
West Coast controlling the footy around the ground. You see there with the uncontested marks. Kelly into the action again after coming back on a few minutes ago. And a free kick. West Coast. Kelly follows. They wanted the advantage. It won't be paid, fortunately, for them in the end, because Kelly missed the shot. It'll come back to the point of 50. Waterman is a long kick. So a chance to try and take the shot. So the Saints were just building a little bit of momentum. West Coast, they've hit back once through Jake Waterman. They'll try and do it for a second time. He strikes it pure. It's right to the line, but just comes up short.
Yeah, he apologised. So he was caught in between. If you can't get there, the last thing you want to do is land the kick just a metre out because it's too easy to rush through. And now we've got a very strange, soft 50-metre penalty, I would have thought. Didn't look to be a lot in it. Trying to pull up. Slightly late from Brandon. Perhaps the turnover comes anyway. Eagles almost had it back. St Kilda now through Hill. Kicking it short to Jones. Sinclair. Ross. Reno. Wobbler off the boot. And only finds Shee. It's got the wrong people kicking it inside 50 at the moment. Going to get your best ball users, your best decision makers, and the most highly skilled players with that critical kick.
Outside 5. You're outside 5. Stand there then.
That's what's presented to Brad Shepherd. That's for Kennedy to lead up. Oh, the free kick, thought he was pushed. Saints will take it for Ross and then back to Caulfield. Short for Dunstan. Had to stretch. Nervous moment, but able to hang on. Back out wide for Claverino. Last couple of kicks. Askew finds teammate this time. Disposal 18 coming up for Brad Hill, going at 75% by foot. And that one just sat up on the head of Membry. Allowed the Eagles to crash in. Still a chance though, St Kilda. Membry, Butler, Jones, who loves to run and carry. He's got a player on long. If he can send it in that direction, and it is long at the square. It hits the deck, he kept his feet. Big chance here, the Saints. Long kicks the goal. Now, was it going to go into the goalpost? It's hit the umpire. He's kicked it into the umpire.
Don't tell me he's missed from a foot out.
Been hit by the ball. Please check what the score would be.
You can't miss from there.
The ball has hit the umpire. Please check what the score would have been.
Review underway.
He's done well with the hand.
Well, if he didn't get the hand there, he was down for the count. But where's that ball going? That looks like it's going to clip the padding from that angle, doesn't it?
Complete. Looking at this angle, we can see if the ball did not hit the goal umpire, it would have hit the goalpost. Decision on the scoreboard.
Oh, my goodness, that's a miss. That is a serious miss.
Shake of the head from Ben Long, who misses from a metre out.
He did so well, though, perhaps, because it was a... Jones didn't release the kick early enough. He had to fight 1 against 2. He then did the hard work and missed from a foot out.
Oh, credit on the reflexes from the goal umpire. Bad miss there from St Kilda. Just a couple of minutes to go till three-quarter time. We've got another opportunity here as they try to send it inside 50, but it's knocked down. Steele crashes in. Rotham put his head over it to try and win the footy, and it'll be a ball up. The intent to win the footy certainly been there this afternoon on both sides. Hunter wrestling with Matanui. And it will be a Saints free kick in the ruck. Hunter wins it. And we'll get the set shot. Matanui protesting that his arms were around. We'll get another look at it here.
It's a bit of both, isn't it?
Both players.
How do you call that one way?
Well, both players were doing the exact same thing, but I think the fact that they were the wrong side of where the ball was going to drop.
Pre-season pickup, a former Adelaide rookie, comes into the side with Rowan Marshall missing and makes an impact. Crucial goal for the Saints just before three-quarter time.
Couldn't agree more. I mean, the importance of that kick from the big fella there. You can protest all you like. I've never seen an umpire change his decision. But it keeps them inside that 20-point buffer. And we know that they came back from a big margin earlier in the year. They'll have confidence that they can run over the Eagles in the fourth quarter here, the Saints. We know they're a fit side. They can run. Good finish from the big man.
Just the second goal in the career of Paul Hunter in his fifth game. Great time to produce it. Natanui in the middle. All fired up after the last free kick. Went it down to Yo, then to Kelly. O'Neill hands to it. Natanui in there again. Strong tackle from both sides. Sinclair, Webster on the boot. Certainly time for another both ways. There's Ross. Back to Caulfield. It was over the head of Connolly, but he's able to find Kent. Now Brad Crouch wants to draw McGovern, who wasn't having any of it. Out wide to Connolly. He bought it that time, though, as Connolly steps around, sends it long. Edwards a spoil. Saves it for the Eagles. Hearn. Rotham. High ball. Brander camped underneath it. Is there some holding going on behind? Caulfield thought so. Brander will take it to Gaff.
To make sure they don't concede a goal in the last minute here, the Saints. They've worked their way into the contest. Can't afford a late goal, and it doesn't look like West Coast are going to take any risks whatsoever.
Yeah, I think just given field position here, just happy to soak the time up, not invite the turnover.
Duggan Long. Sport away. Marino and Gaff sees it over. 17 seconds on the clock till three-quarter time. Natanui and Hunter. Hunter jumped early, went over the back, and a blocking free kick to call. Come back to the Eagle.
Well, an opportunity to score now if they go quick.
10 seconds. And he knows how much time's left, so he bangs it long. Darling! As the seconds tick down, a big mark inside 50.
Boy, does this hurt if he kicks the goal. I can just imagine what Brett Ratton's thinking in the St Kilda coaching box right now. Massive, massive kick in the context of the game.
Saints were charging back into it. Free kick, quick kick inside 50. And now a shot after the siren. 31 goals, 14 coming in to today for the season for Jack Darling. Normally a straight kick. No exception there. West Coast land a huge blow right on three-quarter time. Darling with his third. And after the Saints were marching, the Eagles pinch a bit of momentum back. Return for home at Optus Stadium. Still well and truly in it, though, the Saints. It's just a 25-point lead. We'll be back with the final two in just a moment. It was a remarkable comeback in round 4 at Marvel Stadium as the Saints rolled over the top. They'd have to produce something just as good to get it done here at Optus Stadium and win in the West against the Eagles for the first time since 2010. But Jason Dunstall, Nick Riewoldt, West Coast have certainly set it up, a 25-point lead at three-quarter time.
Yeah, they look good. I mean, the two key forwards are doing the job. They've kicked 3 goals apiece. We just saw that spectacular comeback from the Saints earlier in the year. They're going to need to do something very, very special in the last term, and they need to shut these two players out of the equation, because we can see how damaging they can be in a critical kick just after the siren from Darling.
Everything would have to go right for the Saints. The Eagles, we're going to put a bit more separation between them. We're underway in the final term, out of the middle. The clearance goes the Saints' way. Butler got it to Steele. The quick entry to King.
Another great contested mark. So he's taken 5 contested marks. Yeah. The next best is 2. He's got his confidence up. They've got to direct as much of the footy through him as they possibly can, and they've got to try and isolate him.
He's 21 years of age, Max King. Just his second full season of being out there for the Saints. Directly in front. It's a dream start to the final term for St Kilda.
It's as clean as I've seen him, Jace, with respects to his marking, just clunking everything that comes to him. And that's exactly what they needed, St Kilda, to start this last term. Just give them a sniff. You've got to get within striking distance just to fuel the belief. It wasn't a great kick coming inside 50, really, for Max King, but he had the agility to be able to alter his course and get back in line with the ball. Again, that full extension when he launches, not many can go with him.
Four goals for Max King, and this is the tale of the match so far. The Eagles looked like they were going to break it open. St Kilda not going away. Out of the middle, right of the hit out. Sheed threw himself on top. Jones trying to extract it. Adenui just lodges it in the tackle. West received it from Yo. And a dangerous tackle to call.
Yeah, well, it's hard. We understand why we're trying to protect the players. We don't want any head injuries. Every time you throw a play to the ground now, there's the risk of a dangerous tackle.
West goes long. Off the deck, cleared away by the Saints. Tumbling ball out towards Billings. And amongst 2 or 3 Eagles, Yo.
It's gone down, Billings, is it?
He's taking a while to get back to his feet. Sheed's got it. Skims the ball in. Kennedy left it behind. It just cleared a path for Langdon to snap and kick to go. Quick reply.
Tell you what was great about this from Zach Langdon is the way that he keeps the ball in front of himself with his foot. Just a deft little tap with the foot. We see Billings, he gets a knee to the head. He gets a knee to an accidental knee to the head from Elliot Yo. But I love the way Langdon keeps the ball in front of himself here.
Love the way Kennedy clears the path too with his attack on the footy.
See that little touch with the left foot? Yep. Just kept it in front, and then he was able to finish.
West Coast find a way to respond. Langdon finding a role in that forward line this season for the Eagles. There is a player that the Eagles could potentially get back for the final round of the season, Willie Rioli. And the applause ringing around the stadium as he's shown on the big screen. Jones. Out of the middle. Gaff tackled without it by Long. Gaff just knocking it away rather than taking possession.
Yeah, it was just smart. Knew he was about to get tackled, so just did enough to make sure that he didn't have clean hands on the footy, and any tackle was going to be penalised. Player with high IQ, Andrew Gaff.
Up the line they go, and Darling presenting. Certainly stepped up to play a key role this afternoon. Goal right on the three-quarter time siren, just giving the Eagles a bit more breathing space. Mix up that entry, and Wilkie was able to mark. And the Saints can switch it out. Webster, though, a little too much of it shown to Shepherd, who tried to run away from a couple, holding the ball. Didn't dispose correctly.
He may have got a knuckle to it, but it didn't look like it, so the umpire had to pay what he saw to the naked eye. They need to move the ball quickly, but they need to do it methodically, St Kilda. At the moment, it's a little bit making it up as they go.
Yeah, 18 intercept marks now for the Eagles. That's a big number. They've been able to pick off so many of those forays forward for St Kilda.
Webster, nice little rise to intercept back the other way. 25 as it stands. Danger here. Kennedy aware of it. Able to knock it out of the hands of Howard. Webster can recover. Great pressure from a big key forward in Josh Kennedy. Didn't come off that time. The Saints have got it at half-back. Jones always likes to be aggressive. They'll send it out wide for Steele.
Yeah, they look dangerous when Jones gets the ball. He makes stuff happen in front of him. The movement, the urgency, it creates movement in front of the ball.
Long short to Butler.
Gee, that wasn't well read by Ryder or King. He was desperate for a little hit up.
Here's King again. And he's the king of the pack! Rising over them all and taking another big contested mark.
Oh, that is brilliant, isn't it? I was about to say that's the lane that was open previously, but he went back to the square and then came charging through. And this is a young man now that's playing with supreme confidence. He's trying to clear the area. He's trying to clear the area. He's directing traffic where he wants it because he knows he can jump over the top of McGovern, and that's a clean mark. You've got to pay that. You have to pay that.
Max King with 4 goals to his name. He kicked 5 in a Saints win back in round 4 against the Eagles. He's got a handful again. 5 goals for Max King, and it's back under 20 points again.
We've spoken a bit about chemistry today, particularly that inside 50 kick for the Saints. That was perfect from Dan Butler. He waited.
Yep.
He might have missed the first opportunity, but then he waited. He didn't rush it and just bomb it long to a spot. He kicked it to a position where King could play to his strengths.
Yeah.
He could actually run and launch at the ball.
Well, we've been critical to kicking to outnumbered scenarios before, but it's not kicking to where the spear is if you're sitting it on his head and allowing your teammate to have a run and jump over the top.
On fire is Max King. Brad Hill's the other one that's been moved onto the wing. Boys, he's had a reasonable influence in the back line, the 18 disposals so far, but he's the one that they're trying to get into the game, just like Zach Jones, that run and carry and the explosiveness out of the centre.
Margin 19. Eagles have found a way to respond a couple of times now. Langdon set up O'Neill with a handball. Still alive for the Eagles. Langdon back in again. Good tackle by Crouch. He's able to get a kick away. The Watermen will see it over the line.
And it looks like there has been that move. Jeremy McGovern moved to Max King. Edwards up now on Membry.
Yeah, the 7-gamer Edwards just hasn't had the explosiveness to be able to go with King, particularly in the air. Anytime it's been in that contested situation.
Advantage paid here. Sheed onto it from just inside 50, and he sends it all the way.
Been a few stoppages that have been very costly for St Kilda, where the Eagles have either got a free kick and taken it away, or on that occasion they took the advantage from the free kick and the goal was kicked. Just holding onto the arm, I think. Over the shoulder. Good finish from Sheed. That makes it really tough for the Saints now. Every time they take some ground, they give it back.
Silver service from Nat Nui then. Don't worry about the advantage. Dom Sheed was wrapping around on that left foot regardless. Nat Nui just laid it down perfectly for him. That's the advantage of him as your ruckman. The midfielders can just get so proactive.
3 goals from stoppages for West Coast. Natanui will do it ground level here. Missed with a kick. It was a tumbling ball towards O'Neill, presenting up. It spilt past everyone in the end. Caulfield back now. Under the pump. A couple of Eagles close in. Connolly fumbling after it. Caulfield again. The Eagles ravenous for the footy. Chasing after it. The Saints hold firm. They skip away through Webster. But it might just come back. The bounce of the ball important. It favoured Burns in the end, who's able to take them on. Handball to Dunstan. Bumped away by Hearn. Brander, not sure who to give it to. Eventually finds Hearn with his cool, calm head. Just slows it down and finds the target of Waterman. 25 points the margin. High ball, Oscar Allen. Good spoil Howard. Connolly buried in the tackle by O'Neill. And a ball up. What can Natanui do from the stoppage here? He's searching for Cripps. Spills through the legs. Steele, Hill, Wilkie. Out wide, along in front. Rotham made him earn it.
It's just the ground that Brad Hill's covering here. He was deep at that stoppage in the defensive goal square. And he gets on the end of a hand pass there on the wing.
By Long, it's an aggressive kick back through the middle. Works out okay for Billings. Crouch.
Oh, he had to take on the options. They were open in the corridor and he turned away from them, Brad Crouch.
It's back for Hill, where he had it a few moments ago. Again, he's aggressive through the middle. It fell short of Ross. Kelly spoil though straight to Caulfield. Can he find the target? Membry inside 50, just over his head. Edwards running with him there, and it's out of play.
So what we saw there on two occasions were kicks into the corridor from Brad Hill. Neither was the perfect kick, but he's recognising that they've got to take some risks. They've got to play quickly. They've got to make something happen to impact the scoreboard. And at the moment, if they go back to slow football, chipping it out wide and allowing the Eagles to push up, they're done.
You've got to take the chance now to lose by 40,
Yeah.
but at least go down swinging. There's no point playing conservative from here.
Hearn tumbles a kick to the line. There's a couple of players in the vicinity, so given the benefit, we'll get a boundary throw in.
Nick, here it is. Hit the meter.
See on the live ladder just what it means.
Yeah, they haven't got great percentage, the Eagles, but if they keep winning, they're going to put themselves in a good position and keep putting pressure on the top four.
They'll just keep a gap from those sides chasing. Advantage taken by the Saints. King there. Get a little nudge from McGovern. He's quickest to recover. King feeds it over the top. Membry, time to steady, and the Saints aren't going away.
So right now, Rui, Max King's making things happen. He's making things happen. Could have got a free kick there, but how quickly did he double around? And this is what you do when your confidence is up. You want to be involved at every opportunity. The advantage is paid. The kick comes forward. He gets a hand in the back. But then look how quickly he gets back on it. Clean pickup. Gets the ball going forward. Results in a goal.
Well, that's the next evolution of the game for Max King, is the ground level stuff, the around the ground stuff. We've seen today a dominant contested marking performance. This time McGovern, with the experience, just doesn't allow him to launch, but the follow-up was good. Just keeps them in touch.
Back to 19. It's been goal for goal for the most part in this final quarter. Each time the Saints get one, West Coast respond. It's Jones off half back. Now Hill with another touch. Long up the line. Duggan kills it away with a spoil, and Shepherd just professionally fumbling the ball over the line to get the boundary throw.
Well, you're right, Pap. So now the St Kilda leaders, the guys around the ball at the coalface, you've got to steel yourself here if you're St Kilda. You can't allow West Coast to keep counter-punching and getting one as soon as you're able to put a bit of pressure on them.
Quarantine game. The Saints been stuck in the hotel up in Joondalup all week. We'll have a better legs to run this one out. Still a heap of time to go. Ryder wins it down. O'Neill tackled by a couple. The Eagles have lost their last two here at Optus Stadium. They've lost 3 in a row in Perth since rounds 15, 16 and 18 in 2014. Don't lose too many here. The Saints challenging right now. The Eagles have got the buffer on the scoreboard. The kick goes into the pocket. Hunter had the support of Membry, who kicked the last one. Tight in that forward pocket. Butler to try and weave some magic. High ball. Max King again. Not that time. Knocked it down. Kent feeds it back. King, Ross crunched. Great tackle by West, the second gamer. Connolly still going. Alive for St Kilda. King trying to fight it. West Coast desperate defence. Connolly steps through and then ragdolled by Rotham. No whistle. Allowed to play.
Had to be holding the ball.
Sheed will continue to go. The Eagles come away with it anyway.
Oh, I'm not sure how the umpire doesn't play that holding the ball against Connolly.
Whistle was put away, wasn't it?
Unbelievable.
That's a good kick.
And now the Eagles have got some men out. Gaff is in a heap of space out on the wing as the Eagles send it in that direction. Not much forward except Brander in short. He wants to give it back to Gaff. Kennedy doubles back with the lead and he'll mark it at the top of the 50. Great work rate. And he'll pass it off as well. Loose checking. And Josh Kennedy, the two-time Coleman medalist from 50 out, has passed it to the second gamer in Connor West in the right forward pocket.
Yeah, interesting decision. Josh Kennedy probably could have backed himself to kick it, but you find the young bloke pushes further into space and you want to get him involved in the game, give him the opportunity to kick the goal. Not necessarily a much easier kick, though.
The son of Robbie West, a 92 Sandover medalist for West Perth, also played for West Coast. And what an impact this young man is making. It impacted the post for a behind, but has not looked out of place in his short career off the mid-season draft. Saints breathe a sigh of relief. They just have to go now. Wilkie in short. Ryder. Back wide for Ross. Kent. He spots a one-on-one for Max King. Opposed to Rotham, and the reach was just too good. He's marking everything in his direction.
Yeah, they're all contested marks. He's turned into a contested marking beast. That's number 7. 7 contested marks in his 8 marks. He's got 5 goals, 1 chance to kick number 6. This has been super impressive. Again, going back with the ball. Really good effort.
It was great build-up from the Saints, wasn't it, with their ball movement as well, Jace? Methodical, as you were asking for a little earlier.
Max King is having some sort of game. 5 goals lining up for number 6. It's across the face and out of bounds on the full. Still a 20-point margin. Edwards to Rotham. Stepped off his line. And hunted there by Brad Hill. Back for Edwards. Dangerous switch of play here by the Eagles. It might come off okay. Duggan. Out to Darling. Ryder, a great spoil. If it stays in for Billings, would have had time for a shot at goal, but just rolls away and out of play.
Really interesting period here. You feel like the Saints get the next one, it's game on. The Eagles get the next one, it just about shuts the door.
Crucial stoppage inside 50 for the Saints.
It's got to lock the ball in here now. Lock it in.
Membry and Allen. It's flicked out the back. Brander. Gaff in there. Steele trying to knock it on. Crouch. Saints have got it. Dunstan hooking back towards goal. King's the danger man, but McGovern, as we've seen him so often do through 150 games, back to save the day for the Eagles.
Yeah, he's not going to pick up anyone there, Jeremy McGovern. He's just peeling off, finding the dangerous area and making sure that he can get there to commit the spoil. Max King, engaged by his opponent, allowed McGovern to do as he pleased.
McGovern's long kick. It's going to come back in. Marino takes a nice mark. There's the option up, though. He's playing just his 3rd game. Into the pocket, and a strong mark taken. An awkward landing. It was for Kent, but he's taken the mark. He's hurt himself a little in the process. Another massive kick coming up for the Saints. Just got that leg caught underneath him as he landed. And he'll take the shot. Dean Kent sends it goalward, but wayward.
A couple of opportunities he's missed today, Dean Kent. A couple of set shots. 2 behinds is the result. And we mentioned earlier, it can be the difference between winning and losing. Accuracy in front of goal.
Cole for Edwards. Tom Barris in the side. Harry Edwards with the duties down back. Long kick up the wing. Caulfield almost. Reno to get the hands clear. Long just slipping. Kenny the tackle, but spotted by the umpire off the play, but it was high.
He was off them too.
The locals getting a little restless, sensing the danger. 3 goals in it. Through the middle of the ground. Burns takes it and wants to go. Caulfield running and sending it long in towards Paddy Ryder and Membry. Membry the recovery. Allen into tackle. Spills to Sheed. Saints swarm in. Was it dragged in? Ball up.
That's a great win from Sheed. Just knew he was going to get swarmed, but committed his body to the contest. They've got to find a way to score here, the Saints.
Ryder flicks it. Brander crashes through. Burns on the boot. And Edwards gets back to mark on the goal line.
See, they're pressing hard, the Saints. They just can't get that regulation opportunity to kick the goal. Being made to really scrap by the Eagles.
West Coast set it up earlier.
And that's what they can't. They can't allow West Coast to chip around and just maintain possession by foot. Yeah.
5.5 minutes remaining. Duggan goes the long kick. Kennedy brings it down. West pushes off one, loses the footy. Caulfield had it for a moment. Pile in on top. The Eagles will be happy with stoppages as the seconds tick away.
Yeah, time becoming the enemy now. Just getting to the point where you're just going to have to be super efficient every time you go forward.
Ryder's hit out, but straight to Sheed. I knew he just stepped on the ground. And it'll be a boundary throw in.
So if you're the West Coast mids and Nat Nui, I know the desire at times is to flick it around and be creative in these situations, but bring a Dower mentality here. Keep it in tight, nothing out in space.
Holding free kick, Eagles free kick.
And that's the one thing you can't do.
Unfortunately, he's been forced into that a few times in the second half, hasn't he? Paul Hunter just out-bodied by Nat Nui and giving away free kicks.
And look for the tall timber in the Eagles forward line. Kennedy, who's looking for the free as he leapt early. West in and under again. And a ball up. The 29 disposals for Sheed. 28 for Zach Jones. The best for the respective teams. Lots of numbers around this stoppage. Just bullied out of the way. It was Hunter by Natanui, who gets a shot away. Gets the point. Out to 19.
Yeah, 4 scores now.
Hill wanting to run it. Howard. Connolly. Now Sinclair.
Just got to go. Really got to go.
No time to waste at all for St Kilda. Kent over the top. Burns with an aggressive kick. Steele just has to wait for it. It was off hands though. Butler read it well, and he can run rings around them too. Dan Butler inside 50. The snap to goal is a beauty. It's still game on.
Very much so now. Game on, perhaps indeed. Back to 13 points. That is, it's great initiative. He just took it on, didn't he?
It's as good a crumb as you'll see as well. He hits that at pace. And he goes past Nick Natanui like he's standing still.
Yeah.
You know what a powerful guy he is. Love the kick from Burns too, to bring it back inside. It got to the point where you had to take the risk. Had the courage to do it.
Great finish. Didn't he just show contempt for Nick Nat? Like, you're nailed to the floor, my friend. I'm just running straight past you.
20 disposals and a couple of goals for Dan Butler. The crowd rising. Trying to lift the home side to hang on. The Saints are fighting hard right to the end. They're taken down. Free kick to St Kilda for holding the ball. Time a real factor. 4 minutes. 13-point lead. Zach Jones is taking them on. Good chase from Natanui, but he had Steele in support. Awkward kick inside 50, and Hutchings sits underneath it.
Oh, that was a disappointing kick. You know what he was trying to do? He just half shanked it, Jack Steele, unfortunately.
Kick to the wing. West was there. Great spoil, Caulfield. Allows Wilkie to get it to Sinclair. Now Ross. Back for Caulfield. Short to Jones. Oh, they want to go quick. Out wide, Claverino with a bit of work to do. Not much ahead. Brings it inboard. Hill sends it long. King's got some separation, and he takes another big grab. A commanding presence inside 50. He'll be destroying backlines for a long time to come. And he's had a massive game.
No, he's playing the best game of a very, very small career thus far. It's going to be huge. Yeah. I mean, he's taken 8 contested marks.
8 contested marks. And he's been kicking them pure as well. And the Saints creep closer again.
Well, they mucked around with it across the middle of the ground for a little while. Brad Hill was he looked reluctant. In the end, it's just a blast inside 50, and King almost uncontested in the end. He was able to slip Shepherd. And again, clean with the hands. You can just see there, the player coming across. I think it was Rotham in the end, just nowhere near the height that King was be able to get to.
Massive centre square bounce coming up. Paddy Wright has been on the bench for a long period of time. The Saints actually got that last centre square clearance, but what a massive moment this is. Paddy Wright and Nick Natanui in the centre square.
Yep, and they were able to keep the ball away from McGovern going inside 50. He's gone straight back to King now, and I suspect the instructions are he's not to touch the ball.
Natanui paddles it on. Waterman after it. Kelly trying to poke it through to get on the end of it. Sheed just waiting out wide. He can be the finisher. He can punish the opposition. Dom Sheed.
They've just had the answers when they've needed them, haven't they? We've been sitting here trying to make a case for the Saints to get back in it because we want a close game. But the Eagles, when they've needed to. Nick, now they're the second efforts we're talking about. The ability to keep the ball going forward, getting it going in your direction. And that's all they did. Kelly involved as well. And Sheed, the second time he's got on the end of one and finished nicely. And that's probably the one that gets them home.
He's kicked bigger goals, but that might be on the podium. You just see his ability to hold his position there and not get sucked in to the contest meant that as soon as West Coast won it, he was in clear air. Class finish, just settled himself.
The Eagles find a way again, 13 points. The boot of Dom Sheed saving the Eagles again. The Saints had all the momentum. Yo extracts it. Jones pinches it. Sinclair. Hunted down by Cripps. Ross trying to knock it on. Wrapped up and balled up, and that sort of attack on the footy was seen from West Coast today. I mentioned it a couple of times, but real intent. Very different to their game style earlier on in the season. The fight here. Ryder's hit out, but only as far as Sheed. 30 disposals now and 2 goals for Dom Sheed. He's had a big game. Max King with 6 for the Saints. Career high for the young Saints forward. Sheed again slipped it across to Natanui. Ryder taken down. Steele. Sinclair didn't want to take it, just knocked it on instead. Sheed flicks it up. Cripps. Duggan. And it'll be a free kick coming back to the Eagles.
Yep, they'll take their time now. They'll look for a sideways chip backwards if need be, just to keep chewing a little bit of time off the clock.
Easy does it now for West Coast. Jeremy McGovern celebrate a win in game number 150.
There's your 110 uncontested marks, Jose.
Yep. They just don't lose.
Important measure for the Eagles. Allen rising, able to fist it away. Gaff back for Hearn. Gaff again. And now Rotham. Towards Darling, who's kicked 3 today. And Kilda will keep running, especially Jones. With a bounce. Draws the man. Ross to Sinclair. He had Burns in support. Wants to go himself. It was a good option. It wasn't touched on the line. Duggan wanted the push. That's not happening. It's a goal to the Saints. Time might be too much, but it's back to 7.
It's a good passage for the Saints. I mean, they've got no choice now but to roll the dice. You wonder whether time's just gotten away from them here. Maybe a little unlucky, Duggan on the line, not to get a free kick here for what is a pretty blatant push in the back. It's a good old shove. He's lurched forward a couple of metres. But they'll have to be absolutely perfect from here, the Saints.
He did feel for the right hamstring after that. Jack Sinclair. Let's hope it's just a bit of cramp or stiffness and nothing more sinister. Showing great fight, the Saints.
43,000 fans in the stands. And the Eagles lead it by 7 points. The Saints needed the clearance out of the middle. Hatanui copped a knock in the middle of the ground. The play continues. Cripps for the icing. But it is away to the left.
How many times have they been able to do that, though, West Coast? Every time the Saints have threatened from stoppage, they've been able to win it, go forward and score or lock it in.
That's a really strange kicker. I know we're in the dying seconds, but to kick to a 1-on-2 and not go long down the middle, very strange.
That'll do it. The Saints made a ferocious charge, but the Eagles hold on for a crucial win for their season and hold their spot in the top 8. The Eagles winners by 8 points.
Plenty of love for the Eagles and plenty of love for Jeremy McGovern in game number 150. They just had the answers when they needed them. It was the big second quarter, Rui, that set it up for the Eagles, wasn't it?
Yeah, nothing like a mask to allow you to carry on like a pork chop. Full anonymity in that situation, but they were great, the Eagles. Yeah. That second quarter blast where they were at their absolute best, super efficient. He's getting right into it.
That's the one downside with the hamstring strain to Liam Henry. We hope it's not a really bad one. And that's what the win does for West Coast. Gives them a bit of breathing space.
Well, they have to win.
Fight for 8th anyway.
That's right. They have to just keep winning games because they can't rely on their percentage to get them in.
And but again, my apologies to Liam Ryan. I think I said Liam Henry. Sorry.
Yeah, he's a big loss. Such a dynamic player in the front half of the ground, but really it was the second quarter that set it up for them. And when they look like that, the Eagles, that's when you think, geez, if they can just get it to click at the right time. But they are so dangerous.
We've seen virtually none of that in the last month. Second quarter, some of the best football they've played for some time.
You want to talk about their last month of form coming into today. Their percentage was 66 over the last 4 games. Obviously, smashings against the Western Bulldogs in Sydney, a loss to North Melbourne. They got back on track somewhat last week against Adelaide. But a much more complete performance today. With respects to the way the game was played, it was much more like the Eagles, what they want to look like. They were efficient when they went forward. They controlled the ball. We know they love to do that. But the contest work was what stood out for me. I mean, I thought Elliot Yeo, he didn't have massive numbers. He had 24 possessions, 20 of them contested. So his physicality in and around the ball, I thought, really set the scene for players on the outside like Sheed and Gaff and Kelly to be able to go about their work. Nat Nui was important.
Okay, let's go down to Matty Pavlich.
Yeah, he was one of the stars of the day, Elliot Yeo. You've got the boom mic there. Hopefully he can hear me right. There's still plenty of noise going on. A pretty impressive performance in the end.
Yeah, I mean, probably a fair bit of an arm wrestle early on, and then I think TK just went into his Superman form, and we sort of knew that, and we isolated him, and when he's red hot, you just want to give him the footy. So we did that. We were able to get it forward and put on some score.
And every time the St Kilda challenged today, you guys just were able to step up, particularly around that centre square bounce and get enough of the ball inside 50 to give the forwards a chance. They just couldn't quite get close enough.
Yeah, we probably, that was one of the talking points at half-time. We probably weren't all that compliant inside than what we wanted to be, but in the second half it felt like we got on top, and that probably ended up winning us the game. We were able to keep up in the contest, but it was probably our compliance towards the end that got us over the line.
The Gov's down back, 150 games. How will he celebrate tonight?
I think he'll be having a few beers, that's for sure. Unlike Gov to have nothing.
Thanks for your time and well played today.
Cheers, thanks guys.
He might have a few mates too, Jeremy McGovern. We've seen a few of them in the crowd enjoying themselves. He spoke there, Elliot Yeo, about TK, Tim Kelly, putting on the Superman cape. He did that in that second quarter. His second quarter was something to behold. 13 possessions out of his 26 for the day came in that second term. He had 5 score involvements, 5 inside 50s. Hit the scoreboard himself with a goal and set up Kennedy and Darling with 1 each as well. So he had a monster term.
We spoke about the loss of Rowan Marshall for the Saints. So it was Paddy Ryder v Nick Nat. Now, Ryder actually won the hit-outs, only a marginal difference there. But where Nat Nui has the advantage is his follow-up work. He's had 8 clearances himself. The ability to follow the ball once the initial ruck contest is over and to then help move the ball forward and get it into the hands of his midfielders is superb.
Great scenes. It's almost a bit weird now seeing a big crowd of the footy, isn't it?
Certainly enjoy it while there are fans in the stands. 43,000 here this afternoon. See the Eagles win it by 8 points. An important win for their season. Just gives that little bit of breathing space with all those teams trying to challenge.
Mr. 150 giving a bit of space too. Look at that.
Certainly a popular character. Country boy from Albany originally. A few road bumps on the way through after being drafted, as we spoke about earlier, but he's become a phenomenal player. Such an important part of that Eagles back line. He's going to get the shower now as well. Celebrating game number 150 with an 8-point win.